Go ahead.
Ciao Klaus, grazie per essere qua con noi al nostro stand qui a Futura Expo. La domanda che volevo porti è come l'Unione Europea sta incentivando la disseminazione di buone pratiche relative al turismo, che è appunto un settore molto importante in Europa e anche in Italia, a maggior ragione.
Well, we had the opportunity to see three of the ongoing initiatives that are relevant at the moment. We started with the let's say overall the umbrella transition pathway. It's always a mouth breaker, even in English. È più facile passaggio di transizione.
Passaggio di transizione, sì.
Più facile in italiano.
Che in inglese.
The transition pathway, which is for the whole tourism industry and transport sector and air, so it's really comprehensive. Working very much with pledges, so trying to engage the different stakeholders from tourism industry, from the social partners, from teaching education system, public authorities, to not just say we will do this and we will do that, we commit to this and that. No, we will do A, B, C. We commit to certain activities.
Okay.
So that's the first part. The second one was the Rural Pact, Pacto Rurale. The colleague, I guess, told you already about this.
Yes.
Patrizia, which is focused very much on the rural, but as a territory, not only agriculture, looking at all activities, social, cultural, economic, environmental that happen in rural areas.
Yes, and also tourism.
Right, so amongst them, there's tourism. And the third was a Pacto delle Competenze, Pact for Skills,
Okay.
Where we talk about skills, knowledge, training, especially again for the tourism sector. So these were the three initiatives, and we tried between, because I was in charge of the first and the third, Patrizia was in charge of the Rural Pact, so we tried to bring an idea about what they are and what practical is in for those who are interested to know more about it.
E conoscendo appunto le aree montane, quanto ritiene importante che anche le aree montane e le comunità montane siano consapevoli di questi strumenti. Saranno delle sfide anche per loro, giusto? Il turismo, così come attirare, tenere e formare le competenze.
Well, tourism is very useful, and we've seen this over the past 60-70 years since the first beginning of, back then it was, the first French definition was leisure stays at the home of residents of farms and local villages. That was the first official name.
Okay.
This is how it started as a philosophy. You go to a rural place, you share, you experience the culture, the food, the way of living. That started 80 years ago. 70 years ago. 54, 55, 70 years ago. It evolved. It went through the farm tourism in the 60s. It went to a wide understanding with the rural development policies at the end of the 90s of the past century. It always was, let's say, more a niche thing where people also did it, but the main tourism was something different. Now for about 15 years it's really mainstream. It's one of the, especially after COVID, that brought it up, because people suddenly didn't go to the mass destinations anymore. They went to the smaller ones. And now we are suddenly, we are on the, I always compare it with like a funnel where you filter.
Okay.
You have a big thing on top, and then people go down and decide where they go for holiday. If you're not in this upper thing, if you're not in there, people will not even consider you for further now. Okay. Years ago, we were outside that. But now we are in the first set of water that you pour in on the top. And then it depends if we are visible enough to be attractive, to be looked at. But we are on the mind. So that's a big step forward, but it has its dangers. We already had some cases in specific nature spots where we have what is called, if you call it, with a negative language, you call it over-tourism.
Over-tourism, yes.
If you call it in a more positive way, you call it unbalanced tourism.
Okay.
So it depends on if you want to be friendly or unfriendly. I know that I'm a bit against the mainstream. I prefer to call it over-tourism because it is what it is. There are too many places at a given place at a given time, and this is too much. So we have few cases, but we have them. Usually it's peak spots, landscape beauties. You remember, you know, the this famous giant's nose in Norway, where you have this rock. You always see one single person staying there. What you don't know is that now in season, you have a queue of 100 people waiting there
this is over
to get the visitor
yeah.
to get the turn to take this photo.
Yeah, just a photo.
So these are developments where we need to be aware they can happen in more places, because if you have more demand, it's a fragile offer. It's for a rural community that is kept alive, and it's all traditional, and people are friendly and they are welcoming. Why? Because they are 100 people living, and every once upon a time somebody outside comes and you're a visitor. But when suddenly in this place of 100 people, every day you have 200 visitors, then this whole thing changes. The attitude change. Also the resource that people visit change, because people are not like they were before. So this is a thing we need to be careful about. It is not like a beach tourism. It is not like a city tourism, where in the end the beach is a resource in the city, the cathedral or the monuments are the cause. In our case, it's nature, it's local traditional way of life, or traditions, friendly people, and this can be spoiled very easily if there's too many.
Yeah, absolutely. Puoi spiegarci brevemente come funziona la UEA Tourist Platform?
The EU tourism platform depends on what you put in.
Okay.
So it's an alliance of the willing, as we call, which is the case also in the Rural Pact, basically, and in the skills platform as well.
Okay.
Those who are interested in the topic, they can join. They need to fill in basic data. You need an EU ID, but you create this in literally 1 or 2 minutes. And then you create your profile, which already streamlines how you get information. You can find everything actively, but if you want to benefit from the push services, where upcoming new information in your interest profile is included, that's very useful, because you receive it, you don't have to search for it. Whatever new comes in, you fill in, I'm interested in active tourism, city tourism, health tourism, and in events. So if somebody starts an event in mountain tourism or in cycling, you will not receive it.
Okay.
Because it's not in your set filter. If you search for it, you can still search for it, but you're not pushed into it. So that's a great advantage. And the number of content, of course, depends also what you feed. Everybody can feed. So if you have an event, if you have a seminar, if you have a webinar, you do a training course, you can feed it there. There's a monitoring process behind.
Okay.
So not everybody can just write and then it's not true, or it's lie, or it's fake news, or whatever. So it goes through a monitoring process, but then it's available for everybody.
Okay.
So potentially it's a huge information hub. It requires a lot of people using it. So the more use it, the more feed it, the better it will get.
Grazie mille. L'ultima domanda: cosa pensi quando pensi alle montagne?
When I think about mountains, the good thing is I grew up not in the mountains, but 30 kilometers from the Alps in southern Germany. And my parents went and I went with them for mountaineering. Most thing I remember about this was in the year when I finished grammar school with 18. This was already May, so the mornings were early. That was the last days in school, and then we had a final exam. And I decided, okay, I got up at 3. I took our dog. I walked up a mountain, which was a skiing lift in winter, but of course in spring it was already no snow. I was there before the sunrise. I was there on top seeing the sun rising.
Amazing.
I went down, I had breakfast, and I went to school.
Amazing.
So I love mountains, and especially the feeling that it gives when you go a bit off the beaten track. Of course, if you go with a cable car and everybody's there, that's not the mountain experience. But usually if you just walk 15-20 minutes away from that, which most people don't, then you have this amazing feeling of freedom. And of view. I don't know, you have this in Italy, but in Germany, or in German Austrian Alps, on each mountain top there is a cross or something like this.
Yeah, we have it too.
And there used to be a called Gipfelbuch, a peak book where you write all those that go up. They write some sentence. And one I remember because he goes through some of them, which sums it up, I think. Only on the top of the mountain, as a human, you understand in the valleys you live in. And I love that one.
Thank you so much.